Emerald and Jesse were on Watch What Happens Live last night. They, of course, doubled down. They said it was complete nonsense. But 37 minutes, you are not sitting in a room getting your toes sucked or watching them have sex. You're getting a blowjob.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
And he was not steady with Lexi. He knew that Emerald brings these girls back and nobody ever hears from them again. And these girls were very sexually fluid and free. And he could go in there and in his drunken state, we gotta rewatch because I guess, did he say I got my toe sucked as soon as he came out? Or was that in a confessional in the next morning?
Welcome to Cocktails and Gossip, the podcast where we drink cocktails, but you better believe we're going to spill the tea. We chat reality TV, celebrity blinds, and the hottest tea from BravoandCocktails.com. And as always, it's all alleged and just for fun. We do not verify our blinds. I'm B.
And I'm Amanda. Let's get into this week's tea.
What's up, cocktailers? Hello, Amanda.
Hello, B. Hi, cocktailers. Without saying anything, because you know that what stays in our cocktail party Zooms, what happens there stays there. Our cocktail party Zoom was lit last night.
Lit.
And that's all we can say.
I was so excited because it was really juicy what was shared, and I knew about it, but the cocktailer was like, please don't post it because of the timing and whatever.
Yeah.
So I never was able to. And so it was great that she shared it because everybody was like, this is why we come to Zooms.
I know. So guys, you don't want to miss any of them, but this is the perfect example.
And by the way, she was very appreciative, the cocktailer. Shout out to everybody that was on the Zoom because she said she felt very supported. I said it and I didn't know how it was going to go. And the fact that everybody like rallied around me and was like, you go, girl. She's like, I felt so relieved. And that's why we love our people.
It's a very good story. We'll just leave it at that. Okay. So last week, as we were in the last, 3/4 of the pod, you said my favorite words, breaking news. And there was an article that came out and we actually had gotten some documents that Louis Ruelas had been hit with a $2.5 million tax lien from, I believe, the state of New Jersey.
Yeah, I think it's up to over $3 million currently. Like last week, we knew about 2.5. Teresa has some, and the hits just keep on coming.
Yeah. We didn't share the documents that we were sent, but we did post and we did talk about it. And very strangely, shortly after, we had some issues with our website that came from outside interference. We'll just leave it at that. So while we were the first to, there was another Bravo account that I am blanking on. Can you remember who also posted about it?
Everybody posted about it. Chrissy Balls. Yeah. Chrissy Balls, she's lost her account. She's lost her TikTok. Like, she's had to rebuild many times because when she gets stuff, she just posts it. And we know that the people we're speaking about, I don't know if it's bots. I don't really know what it is. But they've had great success in taking down accounts, which is why, for me, listen, we had the Warrior video, okay? So we were the first to flag the red flag.
Yeah.
That is the lobster. So it is what it is. And I get stuff and I'm like, okay, guess what? If this is true and if it's public documents, it's going to be out there. And when it is, we discuss it.
Yeah. I want to say her account was called Reality with Balls, just so we can properly get her because we do.
Shout out to Chrissy. She's good people.
I just have the world's worst memory. Okay, but as of this week, People Magazine has now posted this and written an article. So there's really no denying it now, as per People Magazine, aka our pop culture Bible and an actual news source. Here's what they said. According to records obtained by People, the Real Housewives of New Jersey star and her husband have been hit with over $3 million in tax liens, with Teresa owing $303,889.20 and Ruelas owing nearly $2.6 million. This comes 3 months after Ruelas was issued another lien for $163,523 in December of 24, which the New Jersey court's website shows is still an open case. The reality star who tied the knot with Ruelas in 2022, this is referring to Teresa, previously served an 11-month sentence in prison in 2015 for mail, wire, and bankruptcy fraud. She has addressed her incarceration several times, saying the courts wanted to make an example, quote unquote, make an example out of her. And the quote from her is, "I know in my heart I was not supposed to go there. I know I only went because I'm in the public eye," she said in 2022. "Listen, I'll shout it out to the world. I signed 2 contracts that Joe was flipping 2 houses for that he was buying. That's all I did. I knew nothing about what he was doing. I have nothing to hide. Like, I did my time already," end quote.
Okay. There's actually more coming out today that they requested an extension on a mortgage loan. So they took out, or he took out, $1 million additional loan that was set to mature, and they got a year extension on that until March 25th, 2026. He also took an additional $250,000. So this 1.2 and change loan on the home is in addition to their over $3 million tax liens, if I'm reading this correctly, which I think I am. So we know that she never really took accountability. She's always maintained that it was Juicy Joe's fault. All she did was sign papers. Moreover, she didn't think what Joe did was that big of a deal, and often said things like, because we were celebrities, like, we got flagged and they made an example of us. But a lot of people, like, do what we did. Like, it's common. Okay. Watch What Happens Live. She famously said, "I would sign a prenup if he said so. I'm so very easy about that," she told Andy Cohen. "He definitely has more money than me. I would never take anything from him. I'm so not like that." So I'm unclear why she thought he had money to begin with. Like, to just blindly trust. Like, all of the exes are coming out. People were pulling out proof of, like, businesses of his that had gone bankrupt and lawsuits and all this kind of stuff. I think most women or men, when you're getting married, you're going to look into stuff like that. You're going to have a conversation with, she has this attorney who follows her around, or did.
Yeah, I haven't heard much from him lately.
Yeah. Like a security guard. Like, you would think that there would be, at a minimum, okay? You think there would be a prenup to protect her daughters. Maybe this is all accidental. Maybe he fell on hard times. I know. We know. Let's pretend that's the case. You would think she would have an estate for her daughters, or a trust, or something that would protect them. That's just business when you have money. We know that.
But also not just for her daughters, but for herself, because she is going into that relationship having some assets of her own. It's like, not even just for her daughters, but just for herself.
They sold her home that she owned with her first husband, Joe. I would imagine he got part of that sale. We don't know if they had a mortgage, because when she came out of jail, she did have a lot of debt she had to pay off. But whatever proceeds she had from the home, one assumes she put towards the new home. She's not on the deed of the new home, so I really hope she didn't put any proceeds, any of her money towards it. When you're filming these shows, you're getting brand deals. You have a lot of money coming in. She's got 4 kids. One is self-sufficient. Gia is doing quite well. We're going to see her making it in Manhattan. She makes a lot of money as an influencer. I've seen a lot of people knocking her not going to law school. I'm going to have to say, like, she's in a space right now where we see the girls on Summer House. We see girls Gia's age. You can really get these deals and really earn good money.
Yeah.
So good for Gia. Like, if she wants to go to law school, she should. If she doesn't, she should continue doing what she's doing. Let's not knock Gia for her mother's poor financial choices.
And she just started her podcast too.
Yeah.
Which it seems like a signed deal. So it's probably relatively lucrative for her as well.
But Teresa does still have Melania and Gabriella in colleges, expensive colleges, Michigan and University of Tampa. You're looking at least $70,000 a year. Maybe the girls got some scholarships. I don't know. But there's definitely a lot of out-of-pocket costs, plus the travel, right, to go to and from. And then she has a daughter who is still in high school, who's going to most likely have to go to college as well. I would hope, in my fantasy world, Teresa earmarked monies for them.
Yeah. I guess the other thing I should say, Teresa, if you're listening, post-nups are a thing too. It's not too late. If Louis is the stand-up guy that he tells us all that he is, and this is all a mistake or he got into it accidentally, he'll send a post-nup.
That's a great idea, especially since her name isn't on the deed.
Yeah, it's just his LLC, which we don't know much other than it's just his LLC on the deed of the house.
And then she'll be responsible for her $300,000 tax lien, which may be like her previous debts. Like,
right.
To give her some grace, she had a lot of debt, which is when she went to jail the first time. And it takes time to pay it off when you're paying for colleges and Maseratis and vacations on remote islands in Greece.
And Cartier bracelets for everybody.
Good thing is that those weren't real.
Yeah. Yeah. Good thing they saved a little money on that. Okay. So we got a little extra info from a cocktailer who was an attorney who looked at the liens, and they shared their expert opinion with us. So it says, okay, he has 2 judgments filed against him. The lien is a failure to pay taxes, so that allows the government to take the money from your wages or assets. The fraud part is going to be determined. And then it says she doesn't own the home, remember? So it's a lien on him. She shouldn't be liable. It says she shouldn't be liable because he owns the home. They will go after the house if he doesn't pay. It's millions. The house is worth 3.24. The debt's at 2.5 million plus, maybe a payment plan. I don't know. It's a judgment for failure to pay taxes. It's not a lawsuit. Because it's an enforceable judgment, they will probably give him time to pay it off. And if they don't pay it off, the house will be sold to pay the lien. And then it says if something happens further with the tax fraud, jail would be separate. And then it says, if he doesn't pay, they will sell that.
If there were going to be fraud charges, that probably already would have happened.
Yeah.
But if they can't pay it, they'll have to sell the house.
Cocktailers. I feel like when I am left to my own devices and I'm not really paying attention to trying to eat better or making meals for my family, etc., I end up eating a handful of Cheez-Its and maybe a glass of wine. Obviously not ideal. And I have to tell you, I have been doing so much better this year by really focusing on nutrition. Are you ready to optimize your nutrition this year? Because Factor has chef-made gourmet meals that make eating well easy. They're dietitian approved and ready to heat and eat in 2 minutes, so you can fuel right and feel great no matter what life throws at you. Factor arrives fresh and fully prepared, perfect for any active, busy lifestyle. With 40 options across 8 dietary preferences on the menu each week, it's easy to pick meals that are tailored to your goals. Choose from preferences like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, or Keto. Factor can also help you feel your best all day long with wholesome smoothies, breakfasts, grab-and-go snacks, and more add-ons. So you can reach your goals this year with ingredients you can trust and convenience that can't be beat. Like I said, if I'm left to my own devices, I often don't make the best choices. You can call it a girl dinner or you can call it bad choices. It really helps when I have Factor in my fridge because I literally see it there. Every single one that I've had is delicious. So it's nice to have options and it makes it so easy. Just literally pop it in the microwave and heat it up and then it's ready to go. Recently, I had the queso fundido and ground beef, which is, I believe it's one of the keto meals. It was so good. And then the potato leek mash and the grilled chicken, especially like those days where I get busy and I'm working and I'm kind of forgetting. It's so nice to just have that if I'm going somewhere or even if I'm just at home. So eat smart with Factor. Get started at factormeals.com/gossip50 off and use code gossip50 off to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping. That's code gossip50 off, GOSSIP50OFF at factormeals.com/gossip. gossip50off to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box.
For many new moms, hair thinning is an unexpected and frustrating part of motherhood. I have 2 children, and my hair was thick and luxurious throughout both pregnancies, very little shedding, and then after I gave birth, tons of shedding and hair thinning. Luckily, there's something you can do about it. Nutrafol's postpartum supplement was OBGYN formulated to target root causes of postpartum hair thinning, like sleepless nights, hormonal changes, nutrient gaps, and stress, while using breastfeeding-friendly ingredients. Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist-recommended hair growth supplement brand, trusted by over 1.5 million people. That's why this Mother's Day, Nutrafol makes the perfect gift. There's something for every mom on your list. The postpartum formula is great for women in the first year after giving birth. The Women's Balance formula is perfect for women 45 and up experiencing perimenopause or menopause. And of course, the women's formulas are great for those who are in between life stages. Anything truly worthwhile takes time and effort, and Nutrafol is just that. You will see thicker, stronger, faster growing hair and less shedding in 3 to 6 months. This Mother's Day, consider Nutrafol, the best-selling hair growth supplement. Whether you're gifting yourself or a loved one, Nutrafol is offering our listeners $10 off any order. Enjoy free shipping when you subscribe. Go to Nutrafol.com and enter promo code GOSSIPGIFT. Nutrafol.com, spelled Nutrafol.com, promo code GOSSIPGIFT. That's Nutrafol.com, promo code GOSSIPGIFT. So as of today, it is Thursday, the 27th. They have not said a word. They have not publicly addressed it. It's possible they set up a payment plan, but $3 million is a lot of money. She's not currently filming anything. So the money, I'm not saying she doesn't have money coming in. Of course, she has some deals and everything like that. She has her podcast, but the money isn't coming in as it is when she's filming Jersey with an over $1 million payday. So I guess it's a wait and see, and they're not addressing it. And these things can take a very long time. So now I pose questions to you. Does this put enough stink on Teresa that Bravo says we can't? I think that it puts enough stink on her that, like, she can't join an ensemble cast.
Oh, you think she won't do it? Or you think Bravo won't ask her?
What kind of spinoff is she going to get? You can't stay silent on this on a spinoff.
Right.
So my question is this where Bravo goes, okay, let's get Melissa, let's get Dolores, let's do 6 new girls like Atlanta. We said it last night on the Zoom. I think Atlanta has a perfect formula. You add a few new dynamic personalities, a couple of people we know, Melissa at Dolores, maybe Rachel, maybe Marge. I would love Marge to be there. The key is, though, the new people have to have a connection to the cast, right?
Yeah.
So if we're thinking of Atlanta as an example and even Miami as an example, there has to be that common thread. And when we're watching Atlanta, they all, if they're not friends, they're in the same circle and they've dated the same people. There's like commonality amongst all of them.
Yeah.
The only one that feels like she's new to the group is Angela Oakley, Charles Oakley's wife, because she's the wife of a big NBA player. And it works because everyone else is so connected that it's fine to have one that is just getting to know the group.
Yeah, I think that works too. So wait, I need to clarify something about what you were saying about New Jersey. So are you saying you think because of all of this news, we won't see Teresa say yes to anything?
No, I don't think she has a choice. She's posting meet and greets all over the country.
Right.
She'll do anything to earn right now. What I'm saying is, how is Bravo putting her on an ensemble cast of women for her to basically, regardless of who is on the cast, even if it's her and all new people, those new people are going to ask questions. This is going to be in the media as it is right now. And if cameras are up, how do we not address it?
Oh, for sure.
I just feel like Bravo's going to avoid it. And it was one thing when Teresa went to jail the first time, we had watched her from a young new mom in a marriage, move into her new home. We were watching her raise her girls. And then we were all shocked to find out about this bankruptcy. We were all invested in her and we were all rooting for her. And we all felt that she had made mistakes and she went to jail and we waited for her to come out. And then we watched her write her books and continue on an upward, get herself out of debt, all these things. Are we going to do that again? Are we going to rock for her through a second marriage where she's repeating the same pattern? I don't think we are.
I don't know that I was there on the first journey.
I wasn't fully there, but I definitely felt for her and I wanted to see the story play out.
I give Teresa her flowers for being a good mom and raising her daughters and going through that adversity, all of those things.
Sounds like a struggle for you. These flowers.
I just don't think that I had a lot of sympathy for her situation and especially her lack of accountability afterwards, because I think I would have a little bit different of a feeling about it if she said, hey, I didn't know what I was doing, but now I understand.
I broke the
crime. That was a crime. I paid my time. I am working through it onward and upward. But she's never really said that. And that's, I think, at the crux for me, what really has always bothered me about her.
Teresa is an educated person. She was a buyer for Macy's. She should have known better. Nobody wants to pay taxes. Okay, guys. And I think that people who do this kind of crime see it as a victimless crime. For the 99% of the population who goes to work and pays their taxes every month, every week, every year, and lives in a much more modest home and doesn't drive a brand new Mercedes. When you see the lifestyle she was living and then you find this out, if I didn't pay my taxes, I could have a new build and me and my husband could each have our own fancy cars. And like there is a sense of that's what there is. And I don't know, is it indignant or what the word is where you're, and that's why we do the right thing. Because this is what happens if you don't. Because let's face it.
Yeah.
Amanda, why do you pay taxes? To not go to jail.
Because I have to. I don't have.
Exactly. It isn't my religion. The government is the government. They're taking half my money, or it feels like close to half. And I don't love doing it. But at the same time, I would do well in a cell. So I do it.
You gotta.
Because I don't want to have to leave my daughters.
Yeah.
You know,
you come correct. Comes to taxes and you don't mess with that. I fully agree with you. No, I don't think Teresa can pull this journey off for the second time. I think and I think the only thing that I would see her being able to emerge from all this is to be like, I'm a dumbass. Not I'm a dumbass. She would never say that. I really messed up. I believed him for all that he said, much like what Portia is saying right now.
She'd have to leave him to say any of this.
That's what I'm saying. It would have to be over. She would have to fully separate and divorce him and say, I really messed up. In that case, I think she would probably get a chance. But otherwise, I don't see a way to spin this.
I agree. I think that there's definitely an opportunity for her to even be on an ensemble cast if she's willing to say, I was duped again.
And that could, and like we've said here before, that could really change everything. It could change her ability to repair things with her family. It could change a lot. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about Traitors, because I have to tell you.
We had the internet buzzing with this list that we got, and shout out and thank you to whomever sent this list to us.
I know. I haven't even told you this, but it was like our top hit on our website in terms of search hits last week.
Like it was reposted everywhere. And I would like to thank all of the content creators who credit us, because it is always appreciated. And I thank you.
Yes. And
we thank you.
Yes. We always try to do the same when we can remember. When we remember. Well, I know here's the reason, guys, that I don't always remember stuff, because I'm scrolling in the middle of the night because I can't sleep, or I am in line at the DMV or whatever, waiting for my groceries to get brought to my, whatever it is. Right?
Basically, because we're not a legitimate publication.
And I'm not taking notes, and I should.
Right.
I really should. And I think that's something that I can take accountability for and do better, and just have something in a notes app, because I guess what I'm trying to say, it's never on purpose, but I can do better. So we're finally able to share that we heard that Nene Leakes, the one and only.
We shared that last week. We were finally able. I don't know if I was able, but I just did it because I heard it from a couple other sources, and I was like, all right.
Well, we've been hinting
I also knew about Dorinda, that she was coming back again. I've known that for a long time. I think that decision was made early on.
Yeah. So we also got this anonymous email.
Not to interrupt you, but this is why, and listen, with Traitors, they talk to a lot of people, so there is always movement. But the reason that I believe that there is truth to this list and that a lot of these names will be on is because Nene was sent to us totally separate, and I never mentioned the Dorinda part, and her name was on it. So that leads me to believe that I was on the money.
That you knew.
Yes.
Yeah. We have heard that Nene has been back in the great good graces and that there have been talks. So I think that really made everything make sense too. So here's the email from Ellen Cumming. Subject: the rumored cast of the Traitors US might be a dream team, ? It says, some housewives I have heard for season 4 of the Traitors US: Nene Leakes, Ava Marcille, Margaret Josephs, Mary Cosby, and Dorinda Medley again. And then it says also heard some non-housewives: Tiffany Pollard, Maura Higgins, Gemma Collins, Christine Quinn.
I will give my thoughts, but I also wanted to say that another source told me, I hope I say this correctly, Kaysar, Kaysar from Big Brother. People say he's beloved like CT and Boston Rob, so I'm giving him a yes. Josh from Big Brother and The Challenge and Heather Gay were other names that this source heard. Then they said, will Salt Lake City be done by then? I think they will. Erica Jane was mentioned at one point, but my source said they don't really see anyone from Beverly Hills going on this season. So Tiffany Pollard, for you guys who don't know, I think most of you do, is New York, originally from Flavor Flav's dating show. She is a star. I hope it is true. I feel like her and Nene will either be best friends or perfect enemies, two huge personalities. Mary Cosby, I predict she makes it to the end. She's clueless like Sheree and Dolores. People really had mixed feelings about Dorinda getting another shot. They think she was annoying at the Traitors reunion and shouldn't be asked back. I think it'll be interesting because Dorinda and Margaret, although they're okay now, they had that whole spat when they had their performances together and they out on Jeff Lewis Live. And I definitely think that they're two people that are able to be friends because they're not on the same show and they're adjacent to each other and they see each other in big parties. But when left to like intimate settings, I think that they clash. And I think that's why they clashed on Jeff Lewis Live. And I think the two of them on Traitors together would clash. And I think it'll be really funny.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. And I agree with people thinking that Dorinda was annoying on the reunion, but I still love her, but I think she was annoying at the reunion. I got really excited, and no offense to, I don't watch Big Brother, so Kaysar, I don't know his name either. No offense to Kaysar and Josh, but I got really excited when I started to think, could this be an all-women cast? Wouldn't that be badass?
That would be badass, especially since like last season at the beginning, it seemed like they were targeting the women.
Yeah,
to get them off.
I think definitely at least the housewives. So yes, I remember Tiffany in New York. She was good on House of Villains. She's got a sharp tongue, a quick wit, and she's very smart. So I think she'll be really good on the show. I think she would be a great traitor. And I'm just going to say this, but I think Mary Cosby would be great because I think Mary Cosby plays clueless, but is not clueless. She ran that church. I think she's a lot smarter than anybody gives her credit for. I'm just curious.
Actually, like Carolyn in a different,
right?
But the similar, yeah.
And yeah, it'll just be interesting to see which version of Mary Cosby shows up. Right? Is it the more? What is the word that I am looking for? Vulnerable Mary that we saw on the last season of Salt Lake City, or is it the more quiet, sharper tongued Mary who keeps things closer to the vest? We'll see.
Yeah. With Mary, I think her biggest challenge will be she doesn't make connections and friendships quickly.
Yeah.
Because she's like very slow to trust. And I think that will be hard for her. But if she plays it quiet and doesn't insult and lash out and call people inbred, I think she could do well.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the more vulnerable Mary, I agree, would probably do well. And I think if Erica Jane did come, the fashion would be
Amazing.
Over the top. I would very much enjoy seeing that.
Yeah.
Speaking of Erica, I guess it was yesterday. It feels like it's been like 3 days since this happened, but Garcelle announced on her Instagram that she was making a formal announcement that she has chosen not to return to Beverly Hills. She said, Andy says, and Andy has since confirmed this, by the way. Andy said that the door is always open and that Garcelle is making the choice to focus on her career and her family.
So we had heard that she had a rough reunion, but we hear that a lot of times, like who has an easy reunion? So that in and of itself didn't indicate to me that she was leaving. I do think that seeing the clips of the reunion, which we saw after like our intel, the writing was on the wall that next season was her "we're ganging up on you" season. I do know that it was absolutely her choice and they really wanted her to stay. Not only did they want her to stay, but they asked her not to make the announcement ahead of the reunion. It's not something they like to wrap the season up with a bow and then slowly announce who's leaving. Yeah, they're sad that she's leaving.
Yeah, I, for one, am sorry to see her go. I know there's been a lot of speculation that Bose went after her during the reunion, and that's why Garcelle posted on social media the quote, "Not all skin folk are kinfolk." People think that was aimed at Bose for going after her because I guess during the reunion, Bose said, if you had said what you said about Dorit's robbery being staged about me, I would sue you for defamation.
So it's definitely possible that Bose said that. But to me, to say you're going to sue her is just silly. Garcelle never outright said it. She insinuated it. This is Housewives. If we're going to start suing each other every time something is said that we don't like, the person is going to get cut from the show. And Dorit's not going to risk that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see why Garcelle would be upset, though, for Bose to even put that out there.
I think I think it could be a lot of things, too, right? It could be that Garcelle was tired of Sutton not supporting her because we've also heard that Sutton didn't really have her back at the reunion either. And that's been a recurring theme from this season.
And I actually watched Garcelle in the last episode of the season say, I really haven't tried to get to know the other women. I've just kikied with Sutton and I regret that. And I think I'm going to try to get to know the other women. And so then at the reunion, she was probably like, you know what? This is just not working. And I'm booked. I'm busy. My sons are going to be seniors in high school next year. I have a new grandchild. So now I have 2 grandchildren. I'm good. I'm walking and I can always come back if I need or want to.
And I think I mentioned this on the Zoom last night. I think it's also, Garcelle is very smart. And I think it's very plausible that she said to herself before taking the show, I'm going to give myself 5 years and then reevaluate and see if this platform launches me the way that I hope it will. And look at how far she's come and how she's now producing all of these movies and doing all this content. I think it's that. I do think making sure to spend more time with her boys the last year she has them. Like, I don't know about you, but I feel it, especially with my kids getting older. I think I'm like, we only have X more summers. We only have.
Don't say that.
I know, but it's so true.
It's not true. I still go away with my father every summer and I am an old lady.
I think you guys have a very cool family dynamic though.
I'll make my kids have the same dynamic.
Yeah, your kids, I guess you better buy the house next door on either
I'll
side
be like
you,
Dad from my big Greek wedding. Why you want to leave me?
I know. I love him too because he puts Windex on everything. And that's like my joke always about Aquaphor because I literally have one. I panic if I leave the house. I give it to the kids all the time. Here, use some Aquaphor. Here. Oh, like. My son got like a little scar, like a little cut on his face. I'm like, put some Aquaphor on it. He's really, I'm like, yes. Like,
yes,
it works for everything. Anyway, I can understand that maybe it's a combination of all.
Well, and one of her sons didn't want to film anymore. And I think it was a whole lot of things. I think she made the best decision for her in this current moment in her life. And I like that Garcelle's very smart. this is what's working for her this year. And next year, it could be a totally different dynamic and she could want to go back.
Yeah. And I think it's smart of her. This is the way I like to live my life, is to not burn bridges, because I think the world is small. And so I think the way that she's doing it, leaving on her terms, keeping the door open, I think is really smart. So what do you think this all means for the rest of the cast on Beverly Hills?
The obvious is that Sutton is going to have a rough go of it.
Yeah.
I do not believe that Sutton leaves because Garcelle leaves. I personally think she should, because I think that she's going to be eviscerated unless she gets lucky, like Dorit did, to have somebody like Bose come on and ride for her. It just seems unlikely. But what I can say that I think we saw more this season than ever before with Sutton, as Jennifer Tilly says, is she needs this show to fulfill some part of her, to have something for herself. So I do not believe that we hear that she leaves on her own accord. I'm wondering, does this leave room for Crystal to return? She was on Watch What Happens Live recently. I think maybe if she brings in one of her uber wealthy Beverly Hills friends, that would work. Because I just sense this triggering a real kind of shakeup. I think stuff's going to get shook.
Interesting.
They're not losing Dorit because she really performed this season.
Yeah.
Unless Kyle chooses to go, which I don't believe she will, because I think that there's going to be a lot of uncertainty with finances when she divorces, because although they earn a lot of money, a lot of their stuff is not liquid. It's a franchise business. It's very confusing. And to give up $1 million check does not make sense for her.
Yeah. I don't see Kyle leaving either. I don't see that happening. As much as back to Crystal, I don't know that's the move. And I always liked Crystal, but it does seem like she's happier off the show. I like this idea of somebody else new coming on, as much as I disliked some of Bose's comments and the way that she just answered some questions on Watch What Happens Live this week. I really loved her overall as an addition. I think she did come on and ride for Dorit, but I think she also, and I would say the same about Garcelle, she wasn't like a ride or die either. She would agree if something like that Dorit said was wrong. And on Watch What Happens Live, she did not, when they played the Can You Defend This game, did not defend Dorit on everything. I did want to say about Bose, which I think that this is one thing we can share from our Zoom. One of our cocktailers used to work with Bose when Bose was at Apple, and the cocktailer said Bose is exactly the same at work as she is on the show, which is what we love to hear. I would love to see Jennifer. I don't know if Jennifer wants to see this, but I would love to see Jennifer Tilly get promoted. I loved her this season.
I loved her, but I don't even know if that's something she's interested in.
Yeah.
She's really largely able to avoid the real drama. We actually saw in the last episode that Erica kind of came and was like, who was it that thought that Dorit and I colluded together about? Erica really tried to have a moment there.
Yeah.
Does this indicate a bigger cast shakeup is what my mind is going to? And if it does, listen, we've been through a lot of stages of Erica Jane, and I'm not saying I don't want her on the show, but if I'm production and I'm looking at my salary-heavy girls, I have to wonder what Erica's giving me at this point, because this season was about decorating a rental. So you could shade Garcelle all you want about her beach house, but she owns it, and it's her second property. I did think it was funny that, because Garcelle said on Watch What Happens Live that Erica married for money, and Erica said, when she was on Watch What Happens Live, we both married ugly white guys who cheated on us. And I did like that line.
That was funny.
But I don't know what Erica's beef with is. I think I do know what Erica's beef is with Garcelle. And I said it on the Zoom. I think she's jealous of her Hollywood success. I think Erica always wanted that for herself, to be a legitimate known entity as a performer. And she's really only known as a housewife. And that burns her.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I would be open to seeing other new people on the cast as well. I am curious on something, actually, Beverly Hills, because I'm reading a lot of people online, on blog comments and social media, saying, not so much cocktailers, just other places, saying that they think this was a boring season of Beverly Hills. I'm starting to wonder, what the heck these people want, because we had Dorit's divorce, PK's addiction issue, Dorit smoking alone just has given us memes for days. Kyle, while she didn't tell us everything, shared quite a bit more. Still frustratingly not enough. We got Bose, we got Jennifer Tilly, we had heartbreak, we had friendship fighting, name calling, $1,000 caviar baked potatoes. Like that St. Lucia trip was insane. Like I thought it was a really good season. What did you think?
I'm with you. I thoroughly enjoyed the season. I looked forward to tuning in every week. It wasn't a season like where I got to with Potomac, where I just was like, ugh, do I have to watch for the pod? I liked it. Now, was it the most exciting, exhilarating season? No, but not every season can be. I think there was enough drama to keep me interested, and I genuinely enjoy most of the ladies. I thought it was a great season. I agree. I don't know what people want. And then when there's too much drama, it's, oh, I can't tune in. They're always fighting.
I agree. I don't know. I definitely didn't think it was boring. And like each week we sit down and write down some notes about what we want to talk about at the podcast. And every week I'm like, I wanted to talk about XYZ from Beverly Hills because I think there was interesting stuff that happened every week.
Yes.
Anyway.
I think should we go to the summer house stuff?
Yeah. Let's do it.
Name your favorite Civil War battle. Summer House versus Southern Charm. Shout out to Bravo. Oh my God.
That was funny. I saw that meme today. I thought that was really funny.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk Kyle and Craig because Kyle and Craig are part of why there is this beef. Craig is there for the weekend. Kyle wanted to talk to him Friday night or whatever, the night before. Craig wouldn't do it. Then Craig says yes when Kyle says, can we talk, while they're both in their pirate costumes? And can we sit and talk in this boat? And then Craig gets up and he's, yeah, just 1 second. I'm going to go to get a drink. And then he's like up in their room. He's eating some, by the way, those salt and vinegar chips in the blue bag. Now, of course, I'm forgetting the brand name on that. Those are some of my favorites. No,
the Sweet Vickies?
No, God, I might have to just run to my kitchen here in a minute. But they make an air fried version too. And they're the kettle chips.
Excuse you. You better freaking send me a picture.
Okay, I will. They're so good. So I was like, oh, he has good taste in chips. And he's eating chips. And he's like sitting down on the bed and he's got his computer out. He is not just getting a drink, and he's making Kyle sit in that boat
Well, Jesse said he's like big dicking him, or I don't know. Jesse had a comment basically.
Yeah.
He's like putting him in his place.
Power move. Yeah. But it was funny. I found it funny.
I think it was a power move based on the fact that they're all a little scared of Paige, and at the time, Craig was Paige's girlfriend.
Yeah.
What
did you think? Was this like of this talk? Because it felt short and a little just, like the build-up's been all just for this?
It seemed forced. And I give Kyle a lot of shit, but I can see his side. I do think where he messed up is how he went about it. I agree that alcohol is a huge space. It's a very profitable space. He had an offer from another spritz company. Like, maybe Craig wasn't as upfront about it because maybe he was a little bit like, oh, yeah, I might do a deal with the spritz company because he didn't want to come out and say it. But ultimately, they're not best friends. They are acquaintances at best. So I think it's okay for Kyle to be annoyed. But to Craig's point, calling him a liar on Watch What Happens Live, it was just like,
it was wrong.
And Kyle says his whole identity is his business. How does it look for Craig's businesses to be called a liar by a quote-unquote friend? Ultimately, Kyle begrudgingly says he's sorry because Craig was basically like, if you're not sorry, then we can't move on. And then they both are just like, oh, yeah, it's great. Let's hug. Let me drink your spritz. Let's whatever. Listen, There is no love lost. Post Paige, Craig will never look or talk to Kyle again, vice versa. So I think that had Craig and Paige stayed together, I think they would have been able to maintain an amicable situation. I don't believe that there would have been double dates. You know what I'm saying? I think their situations were done. But I think that in group events, they'd be like, oh, what's up, bro? Have casual, in other words, they wouldn't punch each other in the face and they wouldn't make it super uncomfortable for everybody. But that's about as deep as it's going to go for them.
Yeah, I agree. So the cracks are continuing to show, just as we've been told, with Paige and Craig. And Paige in her bedroom, sitting on the bed with Sierra, really starts airing out her issues with Craig. And we actually even see Sierra cover her face so that the camera doesn't pick up what her lips are saying while they are talking, which I thought was really interesting.
Basically, Sierra covered her face and must have said something to the effect of, this is on camera. If you don't want this to play next season, stop. Because then she said, I'm only going to say it once. We saw her say that. That's when, in my mind, I was like, Paige was like, she was pretty settled on her decision. She was really realizing. And Sierra, when they were talking on the bed, this was conversations that Paige has had with Sierra before.
Yeah.
So
you could tell.
You could tell. Yeah. So these were issues in their relationship, and Paige was saying it on camera because I think that Paige knew she was going to break up with him. It obviously took her a while to really end it because this was July and they broke up. And again, we could squabble about the exact day, but it happened sometimes after Thanksgiving and a couple weeks before Christmas. So let's call it November 8th. I don't know. Because people are very stuck on the day.
I agree, because I think Paige is a very, I don't want to say calculated, because that has a negative undertone, but I think Paige, even after she's had some drinks, if she is talking about some of the real stuff that's going on in her relationship with Craig, she knows she's on camera. And she knows that, like, she is her, like, maybe she hasn't fully admitted to herself that she wants to break up, but that she's headed there. So I completely agree with you.
And the fact that in 3 years she's never spoken poorly of their relationship and all of them said she was very private is because she was in the relationship and she was planning on going the distance. And so seeing her this summer open up about it, it's like she was letting herself do that. And in the course of opening up and getting everyone's reactions, and so maybe it started behind closed doors, right? Maybe when she first told her friends, be it Amanda, be it Ciara, be it her real life, like off the show friends, maybe she started to say, this isn't going to work. Like, I'm going to see how the tour goes. But if all of these things I'm feeling and he's insinuating are what's going to be, then I'm going to have to exit this relationship. And like we see the clips of her crying and saying, but I don't want to lose everything if I lose Craig. So I do think that there's a real fear of she's hurting Craig because he's all in. But she also has, her career is based off the public liking her. So her showing all the bad sides of him right before she ends it is a good way. And I am not saying it's not true. Okay. So she didn't feel supported in her relationship. And based on what she said, I can see that she felt unsupported. So I'm not saying the things that she said she created out of thin air. Like when she said, he doesn't want me to bring up how I'm much busier than him because like, if my husband said that to me, like, I would feel very not supported. You should be happy for your partner's success. Like, everybody has their ebbs and flows and thrives in different seasons. So if Paige is having a great run, he should be supporting that, not in any way making her feel, even if it wasn't his intention. Like, it doesn't make him a terrible, awful person for her to be like, I need a partner that supports me differently. But I do think that, to your point, and I don't want to use the word calculated, I just think that by her sharing it on camera, she was smart to give the viewers an inside track of why.
Right.
I think that will help her navigate. And I do think it's very interesting she hasn't been on Watch What Happens Live. And I have to imagine it's because she's telling them not yet. There'll be a point in the season where she'll go on. But I think she wants certain things like last night's episode to unfold so that there's less explaining for her to do. And she can more so be like, I didn't feel supported. You guys saw the episode. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And by the way, justice for us, because this is what we've been saying the whole time. There wasn't cheating. There wasn't, like, things just really were clearly not working out for them. And so here we are. Yeah. I feel like we need to talk about this because
Imrul, just to focus on him before we get to the foursome, is giving me the ick. How about you? Coming out of the room, like, sweaty like mid-sex in your underwear. I don't mean to sound like an old lady, but there's like a whole house full of people. It just seems a little bit much.
Yeah, that grossed me out when he was coming out to get the fan and then tells everybody that he's got 2 chicks in there. And that was the part that I was even more grossed out. Just say it's hot in my room. Does anybody know where a fan is?
But maybe I'm just going to put this out here. Maybe throw on a pair of gym shorts.
Ugh.
They don't know this
need
man. He just moved into the house 2 weeks ago. He's on his 15th foursome and he's coming out in his tight undies. No.
And so I got into a conversation on Discord with a cocktailer about this today because somebody was saying the same thing. It's really giving us, she's called me an old prude or whatever, but I'm just really not into this. And when she goes into the Y, and we've seen these faceless girls going into his room now weekend after weekend. And so I agree with all of those things. I agree it gives me the ick. But what I'm also seeing is that he is, we don't know why, but very purposely being edited to seem very one-dimensional. We're not seeing his conversations with other castmates. We're not seeing him, like, when he goes to the gym with the guys, like, what they're talking about. Are we even seeing him in, like, interviews afterwards? And in my head, I'm like, I think that we have to be aware of we're not seeing anything else from him. So it's very and we don't know why. Is it they don't have enough time to cover his story, or his story isn't interesting enough? We don't know why, but I also am just seeing. So again, I'm not saying this to make excuses for his behavior. I'm just also very aware of, I think we're partially feeling the way that we're, not just because of his actions, but because for some reason the editors want us to feel that way.
Like, we know that they wanted to move away from the couple house thing. So do we think that maybe they said to Imrul, play this up?
Quite possibly. I also believe that there are dudes that are like that are just hooking up weekend after weekend. The other thing that is odd to me is that nobody is saying anything. Because, like, I would have a real hard time with somebody bringing strangers in for overnights when people are sleeping in the house all of the time. I don't know about you, but in my 20s, like, I was like really careful about that. But I had some friends who were not and would go home with guys from the bar. And of course, me, and with my whole thing is I'm always like, how do you know you're going to be safe? And then, like, how do you know your roommates are going to be safe? And it seems strange to me that nobody else in the house is like, hey, dude, like, maybe stop bringing, can you go to their house instead?
Actually, we see Ciara say something to him. Is that next up? I think that's next.
Oh, it must be next episode.
Yeah, but it was like, at first they were all laughing about it. And then this is every single night. Yeah, if there's a weekend, if he's been there 3 weekends, it's like Friday, Saturday, Friday, Saturday, Friday, Saturday. And okay, the reality of it is this. We know that there's a camera crew there and there's production there. And so they are safe because there is security because they're filming a show, right? Everybody at this point knows where that house is. I'm sure they have a security vehicle outside. So the safety isn't like a real true threat because they are being filmed and everything. But it's just a lot. And I have to imagine that production pushed it. I will say, though, I do believe that Imrul, like, this is his thing. I don't think that he's just doing this for TV and he's not like a poly.
Oh, poly. That took me a minute to understand what he was saying.
Yes.
Because that means polyamorous, right? Like, willing to have orgies, essentially.
Exactly.
Multiple sex partners at once.
Or I think poly means different partners. I don't know if it necessarily means at the same time.
Oh, okay.
So I think it's somebody who, if we had 4 husbands or boyfriends.
Right. Yes.
Feel free to correct us because we're 2 old prudes.
No, thank you. I don't want any more husbands.
I have absolutely no issue with however people want to live their lives. That's not my issue. My issue is, like, he's making it like a circus event by coming out of the room, getting a fan. Like, that just all seems
I agree.
Necessary.
I completely agree. Okay, what about Ciara and Jesse?
Oh, no. First, we got to talk about Jesse's toe.
Oh, do we have to talk about Jesse's toe?
Yes. Because, so Imrul has 2 girls in the room. They're all very intoxicated. Jesse goes in the room. So initially, when I see Jesse go in the room, my head goes to, it's a little weird, but they're all drunk. He's just going in there to say hi, get a look at the girls, and come out and be like, ooh, they're hot, or one, there's a blonde and a brunette, or whatever.
I report back. Yeah.
But production shows him leaving 37 minutes later with his socks off. We hear him say a couple of sexual things, and then he comes out and claims he just got his toe sucked.
Was that him that said, I'm hard now, or something?
Yes. It was.
Ew. I couldn't tell if it was him or Emerald. Okay.
If you believe that he just got his toe sucked, I have a bridge to sell you in Brooklyn. Like, Emerald and Jesse were on Watch What Happens Live last night. They, of course, doubled down. They said it was complete nonsense. But 37 minutes, you are not sitting in a room getting your toe sucked or watching them have sex. You're getting a blowjob.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
And he was not steady with Lexi. He knew that Emerald brings these girls back and nobody ever hears from them again. And these girls were very sexually fluid and free. And he could go in there and in his drunken state, we got to rewatch because I guess, did he say I got my toe sucked as soon as he came out? Or was that in a confessional in the next morning?
I think he was saying it to West the next morning.
Right.
He was talking to West was like, yeah.
We just see him stumble out 37 minutes later, and he's a very bright guy, so when he woke up he was like, oh yeah, it was crazy, he sucked my toe, something random, something that obviously Lexi would be annoyed at, but technically isn't like anything terrible.
Yeah, that the audace, I don't know, it definitely made me see Josie differently, that he would even go in there. And I don't know, like, knowing what was going on in there tells me that this wasn't his first rodeo. And
well, on to the Ciara piece.
Yeah.
I think that everything Ciara said was before he went into that room and had his toe sucked. And I got to tell you the truth. I do think that at the moment that him and Ciara were talking, Ciara was, oh, I would go for Jesse. And oh, God, but now he's like seeing Lexi and that's going to be a whole drama. Not that she's such good friends with her, but she is a girl's girl. I think that when Jesse left that room and the whole toe sucking and everything, I feel like knowing Ciara, she was probably very turned off by that and was like, nope, he's a fuckboy. I really think that anything she was thinking prior went out the window after that toe sucking. And it will be interesting to see the next episodes if Ciara's more like, doesn't do the flirting and doesn't do all that because she's like over it, moving past it.
Yeah, I would agree. I think you're right. I don't know. I think with those two, I think that, I don't know. I would go out on a limb, and I agree with you that this one incident could change everything.
Just because we know Ciara. Like, Ciara is somebody who seems to want a very traditional relationship, although she's got a bad picker. And, like, her and Austin were, like, semi-dating and not even exclusive, and she was so upset with him. Her and West, she's still upset with him almost a year later, and he didn't cheat on her. They were dating. He didn't want to be monogamous and exclusive. And we actually had a cocktailer tell us that is the truth. They know people who know him in real life. He was into Ciara, but then they were dating. He was getting a lot of attention and he just honestly wanted to go out and be single and enjoy the attention from women and hook up with a lot of women. So he broke up with her and then did those things. So
which is why I would go out on a limb and say, I think with Jesse and Ciara, it maybe could work, but not right now.
Not now. I think that he spoiled it.
Well,
and I didn't like it. He was on Watch What Happens Live last night and was point blank asked about, I forget if it was dating Paige or Ciara, and he was like, honestly, all the girls in the house are smart and beautiful, and I'd be lucky to date any of them. Ciara's the kind of girl, and I'm sorry, I am too. When you're asked that question, you want to date me, you better say, oh my God, I would pick Ciara time and time again. She is gorgeous. She is beautiful. I hope I haven't friend zoned myself forever. Like sitting there, listen, yes, he's right. The girls in the house are all smart and beautiful and wonderful. A girl doesn't want to hear that. A girl wants you to choose her.
Of course she does.
You're going to have to make a choice. Saying you go with Paige or Ciara, you're going to go with neither of them, hon.
Jesse is in no place, clearly, to want to settle down anytime soon. This is where I want to redirect Ciara and Paige to dating a billionaire. I'm hearing that Jeff Bezos' wedding is in Italy this summer. Somebody get those two an invite so they can meet somebody who is successful in their own right. Not that
I
Jesse's
can tell you that Paige will likely be in Italy, and there is a chance that Ciara will come with her since she's single. We think Paige is single. We don't know. She may be seeing that guy and just keeping it on the low because she got so much backlash.
could be.
Somebody sent me some like nonsense blind saying that, which to me, it would make sense if that were true. Like her keeping it on the low. If I her and keep it on the low.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why she hasn't been on Watch What Happens Live, because she doesn't want to have to admit that yet.
I think that has everything to do with them wanting Paige on at either after the reunion or after the finale, because of everything that's been going on with her and Craig. Just like Jesse and Emerald were on tonight after that episode. There's clearly strategy around when they come on. And so I don't think it's necessarily about that. I think it's more just Bravo knowing it's better because there's so much chatter around Paige and Craig to save it for then.
Yes, that makes sense. Guys, we love you. There is a lot going on. We saw the Love Hotel trailer. I'm very excited for that mess. We got a lot of stuff during filming. So when it's on, we'll be reposting and sharing what we heard. We have, oh God, the Valley. Can someone save us? I mean, with as much by the way, Amanda, a bunch of people told me that Sheena gave us a shout out on her podcast.
What?
And she said, yeah, it's like annoying how you film and you make like a great season, and then you have some, I don't know what she called the person, but some leak that just writes to Bravo and Cocktails and tells them every move we make. And I'm like, yes, I love you, you leaker. So all our shit is accurate as per Sheena Shea.
Sheena,
and also,
if you're listening, you're welcome to petition me for why you shouldn't be my BEC.
Yes, I don't think she should be. She's crediting us. She could have just called us the blogs. So
true.
She gave us the respect to say our name. And also, most of those were cocktails. So I don't know how any of these people know. I'm just saying.
Yeah. That's too funny. I love it.
We love to see it.
We love you guys. Thank you so much.
Until next time. What's up, cocktailers? We want to thank you, as always, for listening to Cocktails and Gossip. Because of you, we've hit some amazing milestones, had some hilarious conversations, and have grown a truly amazing community. If you haven't already followed our podcast, hit the follow button in the top right of your Apple Podcast player, the follow button under the show logo on Spotify, or the subscribe button on Google Podcasts. We thrive on you, our audience. So make sure to tell all your gossip-loving friends about us too. And if you want to get all the tea, join our membership cocktail party by going to bravoandcocktails.com/join. Our members get access to the exclusive tea we post, the weekly podcast without ads, plus another additional bonus podcast every week. And of course, members also get to join us on our monthly live cocktail party Zoom, where we talk about the latest tea and even share tea that's just too hot to put in writing. Last, but maybe best, our members get access to the Cocktail Party Discord, where you can chat with Amanda, me, and all of the other cocktailers as well. There are always some great combos and hilarious comments happening in Discord. Thank you guys so much for listening. We appreciate you.